y'all, but I have seen women root around in a kitchen drawer that has little this and little that in it, you know, and little crumbs here, little crumbs there, and they'll find a needle and they'll go over to the stove and or light a match and quote, sterilize the needle, and then they're going to poke a hole in that blister because it hurts. You know, let God nourish it from the inside out. That's the whole purpose of the fluid. So try to keep it intact. If it should burst, and put a Band-Aid on it with some antibiotic ointment on it, okay? And you know, anytime you have a cut or a blister that bursts or anything like that, you know to wash it with soap and water. Don't use Germ-X. 62% rubbing alcohol, and it burns on fire, okay? If a child gets sand, dust, or dirt in the eye, just wash it out with water. You don't literally have to hold them under running water. You can do it with a cup. And if you've got a 3-year-old, it's going to take 9 teachers to hold that one child down to get the water. Well, no, it would take 8 to hold the child, 1 to hold the eyelids open. Because they're going to resist that. So do the best you can. God gave us tears, but sometimes the tears aren't enough. So the fluid will help. Preferably clean water if you can. If something gets stuck in the eye, like a splinter, a pencil lead, that child has to go to the emergency room. You don't want to try to pull anything out like that, okay? And yes, it will hurt. But you know, another thing about sand is very abrasive too. And sometimes if the child is really aggressively wiping the eye, then he might get a corneal abrasion. So you need to think about what that child is doing there, okay? And I don't know why children do this, and I swore mine never did, but these grandchildren have come along, and I've got one that's tried it. It's putting a rock in the nose or in the ear. Don't go in that nose or in that ear trying to get that object out. I think the worst thing I've heard of, ladies, I have a friend that works in one of the emergency rooms, and she said this little kid came in, he had a Lego in his ear. And I got to thinking about it. You know, I don't know what he thought he was going to build in there, but he did a good job starting. Bites, human bites, are the worst in the world. Of course, you know, you have to, if it's an animal bite, then you have to go, if it's not your animal, go address the issue with your neighbor and make sure the dog was vaccinated or the cat was vaccinated or whatever, okay? But human bites need to be washed with soap and water, particularly if they break the skin, antibiotic ointment, maybe a bolo cover if need be. But legally, we can't share information with the parent of the child that got bit. We can't say who bit, but you know, your children are old enough that they can point. So we're just about out of luck at this age, okay? Now, the old rule used to be, if you bite me, I bite you back. Some children will do that. How many of you bit your own children when they bit you? Because that was the thing we did back then, right? I just bit the way out of mine. So the other day at my house, the little one bit the older one because he wouldn't give him the raft in the swimming pool. And I looked at my daughter and I thought, what do we do here? She says, well, you know what I did when Cody bit me? I bit him back. And I thought, where she got that from? And so I told Brandon, I said, come in here, this 8-year-old. I said, bite him. He said, bite him as hard as he bit me. He said, Mimi, I can't do that. I said, well, try. And then he won't bite you again. And Gavin's screaming already, he's gonna bite me. Well, that's between the children at school. You can't bite a child. It's like kissing a wound. You can't kiss a wound at school to make it better. Right? You can pretend, kiss in the air or something, like an air kiss. Y'all do air hugs at school. Do an air kiss if you need to, and it will drift down to that injury. Make up something, okay? Because generally it will work. It's distracting if nothing else. And you know, with little boys, I think somebody that wrote the book on attention deficit just about had the thing nailed down. But the person that I learned from told me that this age group that you're dealing with has an attention span of 11 minutes. Now, at my house, that 4-year-old has increments within that 11 minutes. Believe me, it's about 2.5 minutes. So little boys seem to need diversion more than little girls, I think. That's just my theory. It's not written in a book anywhere. All right, if a child gets stung by a bee with a stinger, you know, you can take any kind of like credit card and just wipe the skin or scrape the skin. If you have long fingernails, that's another thing. And I don't know if it's going to come down to schools. I know it has already hit hospitals, but you can't wear artificial nails and overlays and have long fingernails anymore because of the risk of infections, because of the germs growing under there. And that's a CDC recommendation, so I don't know if you guys are going to get hit with that or not, but that's something for you to be thinking about. Maybe they might give y'all some restrictions on that. I love this new, and I don't know if y'all might remember this, I don't know how, but, wait a minute, I'm having trouble here. All right, have any of you seen this new airborne product? It's the greatest thing to teach children how to wash their hands. You know, you have them sing happy birthday. Well, you know, one of mine, I was trying to teach him, and he said, why are we singing happy birthday? It's not my birthday. So, you know, happy birthday is one thing. And some people even sing it twice, but we sing it once at my house. But this little stuff, when you put it on their hand, is actually soap. And if any of you want to try it, certainly you can. It puts a little orange dot on their hands. And if they don't wash their hands for 15 to 20 seconds, it doesn't come off. Now, what I've learned with my little grandsons is, you know, after about age 3, they don't want you to go in the restaurant with them. So I've learned that I've had to listen for the commode flushing, the water turning on, a break in the water, and a damp towel. And when he comes to me, I have to smell his hands. Okay? If it doesn't smell like soap, guess what? They didn't wash their hands right, so they have to go back. Had that tried on me yesterday. Came biting in that kitchen. I said, you wash your hands? Mm-hmm. I looked at him, I said, mm-hmm, you did not. So he had to go back. So, you know, you're very intuitive. So you listen for those kinds of things, okay? Somebody faints, children should be fainting. You may faint. If you don't spontaneously wake up, somebody get help, like 911. Please don't slap them in the face. That won't do it, okay? Nosebleeds, you know the thing now is to pinch the bridge of the nose and lean the head forward, not down, not that. I don't know why we never thought about that years ago, because all that was draining down the throat. Worst nosebleed I ever saw was at Trustmark last summer. When I went into the restroom, there were 2 little girls standing in the stall, and one of them, y'all, was pale as a sheet. And I thought, something's not right here. So, you know, nosy me, I go over and I say, honey, are you okay? And all she could do was point inside the stall. I thought, oh, what am I getting into here? The little girl in there had blood all down her front and down her arms and dripping. And I looked at her and I said, honey, is this the first nosebleed you've ever had in your life? Mm-mm. Do you have a mop? Mm-mm. I told the little girl that was standing there, I said, you stay with her, like she was going to go somewhere. She was standing stiff as a board. So I ran and got the EMTs. Later on, I saw that child at the end of the ball game, and she was fine. But her nose was bleeding so bad, like almost like a dripping faucet. I just never seen anything like that. So here and bend forward. Of course, I got her to doing that with no gloves on, by the way. Dehydration, we could have that today because it was 92 when I came. I don't know what it is now. But remember, if you're out in the sun too long, you do need to drink water more than anything else. Gatorade's okay, but do y'all like Gatorade, by the way? Anybody here tasted it? Okay. I don't particularly care for it, so I would rather drink water. But if you are out in heat too long, you start having heat cramps, and your muscles start to cramp up on you, so you need fluid. If you go into heat exhaustion, that's more severe, and heat stroke is really, really bad. I mean, you can pass out from that. So if somebody